Pelicans rookie Zion Williamson will be required under oath to answer questions from attorneys representing Gina Ford and Prime Sports Marketing. Ford and Prime Sports are suing Williamson for $100 million for breaching their marketing deal, which reportedly came together when Williamson was still at Duke. Zion's attorneys are expected to file an appeal. Max, how do you think this Zion situation should play out?
Well, how it should play out is different than how it's likely to play out, but I can give you my opinion here. Violations of NCAA rules were always just violations of some organization's rules. That's not really against the law, except a couple years back, the FBI and the U.S. Attorney's Office, I think, foolishly got involved. Because the argument is if you're depriving other athletes or a fair competition for actual amateur athletes. I understand the reasoning, but the idea that they choose to press forward to investigate it as a criminal activity, I think is a bad idea. I don't think that kind of behavior should be criminalized. The reason that athletes get paid, the eligibility issues are circumvented and such is because the NCAA is a bad organization that has tried to control an unpaid labor force for way too long through hypocritical rules and statements about their own kind of moral standing in it all. So what I think should happen, Stephen A., is that whatever Zion says, whatever that leads to, let's say it leads to Coach K, I think the coaches should get together and the schools should get together and say, look, presuming that there's some evidence or something that leads to higher authorities in these colleges, and they should get together and say, look, the NCAA has rules that no one follows because they're not realistic. And everyone's doing it. I know it sounds bad, like the everyone's doing it defense. But I think if the FBI and U.S. Attorney's Office were to calm down, then things could actually change and the NCAA itself could change. Right now, it seems that law enforcement is not only protecting amateurism, but doing it in a way that empowers the NCAA.
Here's what I would tell you, Max. Zion Williamson, maybe he might not be in trouble, but we need to keep a close eye on this because the allegation against him is that he received illegal payments before and while at Duke University by this person, Gina Ford, who is represented in this particular case by Willie Gary. Let me tell you something about him. He's one of the elite lawyers this nation has ever seen. We talk in a black community about people like Johnny Cochran, God rest his soul, famous for the OJ trial and what have you. Willie Gary's got that kind of reputation. He's the real deal. I know him personally. He is the real deal. Make no mistake about it. And having him represent her case against Zion Williamson, this man is going to go after it. He's exceptional at what he does, and he's incredibly influential. So Zion Williamson, we got to keep our eyes on this situation because the objective is to have him under oath, answering questions directly as it pertains to his eligibility. You and I both know what kind of trouble you can get into if you commit perjury, if you lie under oath. And so as a result of that, for him to be compelled, that's why his case, his team was trying to deny them the right to question him and for him to be under oath having to answer these questions. This could have incredible implications when it comes to Duke, Mike Krzyzewski, or anybody, maybe not Coach K. Maybe it's other people associated with Duke's program. If you're accusing the man of taking improper and illegal benefits, and the key words here was before and while he was at Duke, now Duke may have a problem depending on what level of testimony is given here. So I don't have an answer. I don't have a definitive position because I don't know. All I know is this is going to get very dicey for a lot of people other than Zion Williamson if he has to testify under oath. Because I can assure you, Willie Gary's going to ask those questions that are going to make a whole lot of people very, very uncomfortable.
Yeah. That's why I suggest, Stephen A., that the coaches and so-called educators who have for so long kind of stood on this kind of hypocritical moral platform. We're educating student athletes and this and that, while many have been involved in an underground economy to funnel money the players' way, since the NCAA has these draconian rules designed to control the players' behavior. Coaches and ADs may have to swallow the fact that they will be called hypocrites in the public square when it comes out. But that's why I would suggest that they decide ahead of time, okay, we're going to have to swallow that, get together and say, look, you got us. Everyone knows this is going on. There's an underground economy in college sports. That's because the NCAA has rules that no one respects in reality. If they were to get ahead of it, they'd have a chance to save themselves. I fear that they won't, and because that kind of humiliation publicly is too much to bear, and that will be a strategic error.
Max and Laura, in the interest of full disclosure, I didn't know that Willie Gary was representing this lady and the sports marketing group until I read this article. I have a personal relationship with Willie Gary. He represented me on a case years ago that I won. I know of what I speak when it comes to this man. When I say he's the real deal, he's the real deal.
Yeah, it's a really interesting time right now, guys, for the NCAA overall, not only because of this, but because of the name, image, and likeness rules and much more that is kind of circling around the NCAA. Will be interesting for their long-term viability.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.